It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item will be roll call.
Murphy?
Yes.
Gray?
Here. Yes.
Dale?
Here.
Sneed?
Yes.
Walker?
Here.
West?
We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. They pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone take a moment of silence if they like. Take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Everyone's had a chance to review the previous minutes. If there are no additions or corrections, they'll stand approved as presented. Visitors, we have Faith Beeman. There was no public comments sent in, so we'll move on to officers' report, chief's report.
All right, my report starts on page 4. With a few follow-ups. Chief Hammer and Chief Cross attended EMS Day on the Hill in DC. They were there April 15th through 19th. They represented us, and along with several other Missouri ambulance services that went to DC for that event. They had the opportunity to meet with several congressional individuals and senators while they were there, trying to make way for bettering things in emergency medical services. The biggest one being how we pay. That's where the biggest problem is. I did not get a chance to get a report back from them on who all they visited with, but we'll get that for you guys and we'll get it in one of the next package. EMS week is next week, 19th to the 25th. For the past several years, they've done this, and I just wanted to give a special thank you to Flo and Katie for the hard work they do in organizing the event for the crews. They've made EMS week pretty special the last 7 years. So really appreciate that. The Zoll EPCR implementation is still in progress. We're moving forward. We're still hard set on the go live date of June 1st. Total call volume as of the 30th of last month, Pettis County is 3,036 calls, and Windsor had 357. All of our Zoll equipment has arrived. It's ready to deploy on the 1st. You can notice the little sign out there on the front porch, the brick and mortar is in bad shape. We got a hold of somebody. They're going to come fix it. It's supposed to be next week, I believe. Should have been this week, but I think the weather slowed that down a little bit. But $1,800 to fix it, it'll stop somebody from falling and hurting themselves.
Really? Did we get that second bid?
I believe Flo called several people to try to get a man out here to fix it. There was only one person that actually showed up to look at it. So
$1,800 to fix that small block out there?
It didn't cost me that much to have my concrete pillars on my railings and my porch done.
That's what Flo had. We can put a pause on that and see.
I think we need at least 2 legitimate.
Yeah.
What bids?
Well, they're installing new handrails.
Oh yeah, they're also installing new handrails and fixing that too, because the one handrail on this side is right.
So we're not just repairing the damage; we're refurbishing the porch.
To an extent, yeah.
I think we still need 2 legitimate.
We're also extending the brick out because the way the water's dripping on the back of it, just put the bricks out so it doesn't just roll under there and freeze in the winter. That was part of the problem that he said, is the water sitting on there rolling back under it, coming right back on.
Well, I agree with addressing the cause and not just correcting the symptoms, but I still think we need at least 2 legitimate bids for something.
I know Flo reached out to several people, but I think RTM were the only ones that actually showed up and looked at the issue.
That's Troyer Masonry. Yeah.
We can try to reach out to a few more and see if we can get somebody.
I'd like to know who declined to come bid.
I'll find out.
Be curious to know
Text
that.
out to you guys to let you know.
Were they gonna get started right away on it, or is this when they get around to it?
Well, it was supposed to have been done last week, and it got pushed to next week, so.
Well, I guess
that gives us time to.
That's just how I feel. I don't know how anybody else feels.
Been completing our standard preventive maintenance on the ambulances. Unit 10 is scheduled to get picked up this week to go to North Carolina for remount. Do not have an ETA of when it's going to be back. We're still awaiting parts for Unit 2 in the Eastern cluster. I don't know how long that's going to take to get that fixed. The mileages are down there below. You can look over those. The heat maps, no real big changes there. It's pretty much on par for what it has been. The graphs are pretty self-explanatory, and then our call volumes on the final page, as we all broke out there for you to look over. Did attend the city council meeting where they did the zoning. They'll sit with the council for 2 weeks, and then we'll go back to parking for approval for the annexation. If you guys don't have any other questions,
I did have a question. Did we ever circle back on Wings of Whiteman, whether we're going to do that or not?
that's later. I'm actually going to talk to you guys about that later on.
Okay.
Any other questions?
On the instance by day and hour. This is for a week. How does that compare? Oh yeah, okay, April. How does that compare to the other months? Is this kind of standard?
It's kind of standard. And when I ran the yearly report for 2023, there's a little variation, but it stayed pretty much on par.
And so is this used to schedule EMTs or?
Not at present, possibly in the future as we look and grow and continue to call volume continues to increase, and we have to start looking at maybe adding additional ambulances. It's one thought process of mine on how to work that. That's why I've started putting it in, so we kind of be watching and paying attention to it as time goes, so we can maybe schedule appropriately for that. Because kind of my thought is to do a 12-hour truck and then schedule them on peak days during peak hours.
I assume eight on Sunday morning at 3 o'clock is people trying to get home from the bar or something. They aren't going to church early, are they?
Well, never know.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Are there any questions on the outstanding bills? Perhaps Roy could answer those.
I noticed on page 15, this was Flo's account or something. County Distributing and Stockyard Bureau, is that, I guess, for
That was for the signage for Station 3.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that put their banners.
Okay, banners, okay. I thought maybe he was having a party and he didn't invite the board.
On page 13, why does the oil change vary so much from unit 10 to unit 12 to unit 8 to unit 1? What's special about unit 12?
Unit 12 got an oil change and air filter, so they'll charge that for the air filter.
Right.
All right. Hydro both used unit, I don't know what that is. I don't know what there you go. Thank you.
Power steering, okay.
Yes.
Unit 8 was 65, but unit 10 was 49, and then
Different engines.
different engines. Thank you. That's what I was wondering. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions on the bills? If not, I'll take a motion to approve payment of the outstanding bills.
So
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Move on to unfinished business, credit card limit increase.
So there's gonna be some minor corrections to page 19 that were missed before the practice was sent out. The first thing is we had you guys have voted back when Flo was promoted to up his limit to 5,000. So that 500 is incorrect. But the one, so it's already 5,000. We're not asking to increase any individual's credit card limit, except for the accounts payable part, because that's where the sold bills that has to pay by credit card is all coming through that now. And so basically what's happened is it's maxing our overall limit out, where even though maybe I haven't spent but a couple $100 on my card, but because the overall limit is maxed, I can't use my card and neither can anybody else. Yeah. So we've actually had some bills that are auto pay on the credit card that have been declined now. No. So the ask is to move the overall limit from the 45,000 to the 90,000. That way it matches up with the credit card limit increases, because like you guys had raised Eric's limit back when he was here to the 5,000, and of course mine was too, but we never actually increased the overall limit. So keeping it at the 90 will pay all the bills and still not hinder us from using our credit cards for any emergencies to pop up or anything like that.
Yeah, I talked to Jamie. It's basically just covering last month's because of the way the cycle's working in the current, just so that issue doesn't happen. So
almost everything is by card anymore.
And a lot of our subscription services, there already are, and it's going to continue to move that direction.
So we need a motion to increase it by 45.
So we're gonna double it in case the bills overlap and everybody needs to use their card at the same time.
Correct.
It's a pretty slim chance there, but.
Well, I mean, but it's happening current. Well, not now because we paid the credit card bill, but I mean, the past 2 weeks, that's what it's been. Because all the bills came out, and so like we had maybe a couple $100 available amongst all of us to use, and so when Walmart could buy station supplies could shoot that out of the water, and then I needed to go to somewhere and get something.
So it's a fairly simple process to raise that limit.
Mm-hmm.
So going to 60 or 70 and then having to raise it again later wouldn't be an option. We need to double it right now.
I mean, I think and that's what Jamie believes to be best, and she's way better with the numbers than I am. So I tend to agree that that's probably what needs to happen. Like I said, it's not going to change the amount of money that I'm allowed to spend or any of these other guys. It was basically just going to make sure that when we have a bunch of bills that come out on the accounts card that nobody has access to, we all still able to go and conduct business and take care of things without any worries. And then there's also the delay of paying the bill and then the money actually being available to us on the credit cards.
Everyone's going to still have a limit.
Correct. Yeah, all the limits that are here besides besides the typo on flows, all those limits.
And do you review all of those expenses as they come in? Okay. I just didn't want it to be a case of expenses rise to meet income.
No. And like I said, I mean, I look over the expenses. Jamie looks over them like an eagle. I mean, there's not one penny that's going to go by that's not going to be accounted for. So, thus far, everybody's been on the up and up with their spending, looking and utilization of them. So I've got no concern.
So you made a motion to approve that
motion.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Wings over white.
All right. So we've been back in emails and phone calls back and forth, not only with the airbase, but Johnson County Ambulance as well. seeking some assistance to help with covering wings over wire ambulance, actually 2 ambulances possibly, depends on what we can have. But I have reservations about sending an ambulance out of the county, first of all, to do that without talking to you guys and getting support to do so. And then with the way that the ends of the conversation have gone, especially between myself and the people in charge of this on the base, I guess essentially, I've not been to the air show since I was a little kid, so I didn't know, I don't know how that looks or how that works. But my understanding is that they don't have a budget to pay our standby prices to pay for ambulance coverage from us. And they requested that I come to you guys and request approval to do it free of charge. Since it's a free, I guess for them it's a free event, they don't charge entry fees to get on the base or go to the air show. The flip side of that is, you know, I don't, since I have not been to the air show, I don't know what medical needs they have. I mean, they want to staff up enough trucks to cover everything, obviously, or we wouldn't have ever had the phone conversations and emails that we had. I guess one thing that could potentially offset it some is that any transports that we have are billable transports that we can charge and get reimbursement for. I don't know that it's going to, that's a roll of dice on whether that's going to cover us and we're going to break even, we're not breaking even, or anything else. I don't have a problem with assisting them, but I feel like that for me to say yes to that, I need you all to support that. And so that's what I'm asking for. If you guys are willing to support it, we'll move forward. If you're not, then I'll put the brakes on it.
It'll be it'll be essentially light duty. My wife and daughter go to that every chance they get, and it's usually people who are dehydrated or they're looking up and get dizzy and take a quick tumble and something like that. That's usually what
the heat, definitely the heat.
Yeah.
What's the approximate cost to, let's say, if we sent 2 ambulances to staff? And
I didn't, so I did not get concrete time frames they wanted us there. I guesstimated we were looking at about for 2 ambulances, and granted that was taking the highest paid paramedic and the highest paid EMT. That's what it would be. But you're looking at about $3,200 roughly in payroll costs.
And that's for 2 days, right?
Yeah, it's going to be July 13th.
How much was that?
About $3,200 to cover the bill.
Johnson County will have somebody there.
And so I made my own stipulation before I ever talked to you all. And I told them that we will not send ambulances onto that airbase without Johnson County ambulance again. We're not going to cover it on our own for free. That's their county, that's their district. They need to be a part of that, and we'll come and assist them. And then the rest are on cost, and then we'll be charged or don't charge would be up to you all as far as how that goes. But that was my stipulation, that it was just going to be a hard no if Johnson County wasn't going to be there at all. I don't know how that looks from their end, but you know, I'm just basically going off. I told them what we charge. Our charge was for that type of event, and they don't have money to.
So there would be 4 ambulance crews on duty. Seems a little strong, actually, unless they're expecting an air crash.
Well,
which it could happen, and if there was, you would need more ambulances.
And I mean, I can't speak to the air show, but I can speak to the fair. And I can tell you that on a hot day at the fair, 4 sometimes is not enough. We have 5, and sometimes 5 is not enough. And so I can foresee foresee those guys being busy. And I can foresee them having transports away from that event. Most likely for things like dehydration and overheating and maybe some tumbles that may happen. But I think that they're going to be busy, and I think, and I don't know if 4 is going to be enough, but maybe it is. Like I said, I'm not familiar enough with the air show and how that whole operation works. I can only speak to what I know with my experience. But
now, what type of? I know they have emergency medicine on base as well. I'm sure they'll be staffing as well. But
my understanding after speaking with them, it has something to do with some sort of rules, laws, whatever it may be. Apparently, from what they've told me, is their EMTs, paramedics, nurses, doctors are not allowed to treat civilians. They can treat military personnel, but they cannot treat civilians. And so I guess that is why, Johnson County's coming. They reached out to us because we had done it in the past, albeit it was 10 years ago that we did it. And we did it for free back then. That's why the whole no charge conversation happened. But I know previous to Pettis County, I know APSI was there a handful of years as well. I don't know that they charged either. But I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem helping them. I don't have a problem doing it, but I feel like this is something that you guys need to support.
Just curious, did Benton County decline, or were they not asked?
I don't know the Benton County was asked. I think they just asked us neighbors to see if we would come over and do it. I don't know. Well, I mean, I worked in Benton County before I ever come here, and we've never done a hair show down here. So I mean, like I said, I don't know. I've had several phone conversations with the chief of Johnson County, and then I've had several email conversations and phone conversations with master sergeants in charge of this event, as far as the medical group goes, trying to make sure they have coverage lined out and everything's in order.
Okay, go ahead. Well, I'm just wondering how many dollars a year we average in pro bono ambulance. And if we don't have an item in our budget for pro bono, but I'm just curious what our typical commitment to public good or goodwill or whatever you want to call it is.
I mean, mostly it's just going to be your high school events and stuff like that is mostly what we've done charge for.
Which I can understand doing that for the people who are paying the taxes, and then you run off to. It's not like the air base doesn't have it. A budget. They
well, I don't disagree with that either. But I mean, like I said, I told them the cost, and this is that was what they asked, and since that's what they asked, that's why I brought it forward to you all to decide whether this is something we should move forward with, or the cost is the cost, and if you can't pay it, you can't come.
Well, that also just sounds odd to me. So you have a lot of folks coming on for tours and stuff, so who aren't military, federal staff, etc. So you're telling me if one of them went down that they're not going to treat them?
They call JK.
They do.
They do?
They do.
Okay.
And when I worked over there, we responded on base for calls, and then if your ambulance is actually transporting, you got to meet them about, it's called Bill Sharp's curve.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's a flash from the past.
Yeah.
But we always meet in Bill Sharp's curve to get on their ambulance and render care to whomever was in the back.
So if we were to allocate, say, $10,000 a year, and when we're out, we've expended that, we're out of the volunteer ambulance work or grass work, would we get to 10,000 most years? Taking into account the value of the high school commitment, which is what, 5 home games?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know that we'd actually get to 10,000. I don't think we'd do that high.
Would we get to 5?
Probably. I mean, I think if you total this into that, what I'm asking tonight.
So if we were at 5 and they asked asking, you told them we've got 5 high school games we have to do plus whatever. We've only got $2,000 worth of credit left. We'll do it for $1,200. We think they jump, or I mean, I'm just making up numbers, but that's a justification way to get out from underneath it.
I don't know, you know, in our conversations, I had brought to their attention, I was like, well, here's the deal. They cost X amount of dollars using the highest paid team paramedic to cover this payroll. Meet you in the middle, and if you can come up with that, I'm more than happy to come talk to you all about at least meeting payroll. And basically the answer was there's no money for us to be able to pay for that. And so I did a little research on my own. I know, I don't know what it's called, but they have an airfield up by St. Joe, where they have an air show there as well. I reached out to Buchanan County Ambulance. They do not charge for their air show. Now, granted, that's also in their own area. Right. But I also know that there are other ambulance districts around that come in and assist them as well at those air shows. And they don't charge either. I'm not saying that's what we got, just because they do it means that we got to do it as well. But I wanted to know, since I didn't know enough about this, I wanted to know what other people are doing for these types of events.
Yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying that we're setting a precedent there that what's the next one that.
Right. Well, I mean, we're already in this because we set a precedent 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole reason the phone calls initiated.
But it's not uncommon.
Apparently. Yeah, I mean, that's the only place I knew of that has air shows. So I called up there and talked to Steve, the operations director, and you know, he said, no, we don't charge. It's a free event for the public.
Okay, but is it defensible? A lot of white men, there's a lot of jobs up there for people in today. Those payroll dollars are spent here. We're collecting on the sales tax. I mean, it is defensible.
I mean, I think it is. I mean, that's why I entertained the idea of even bringing it forward and just saying, no, I'm not going to, because I know that people from this community will probably go to the air show. There's a high likelihood we may transport people from this community from that air show. You know, I felt like it was reasonable to ask. I don't know, and it kind of just leave it up to you all if you felt like that was the right thing for us to do. Like I said, I don't have a problem doing it. I feel like it is, but you know, you guys are in the public and hear more about that level of stuff than I probably would, and I wanted to know kind of how you go about that. And basically get permission for it.
Really is the right thing to do.
Yep, it is, but I'm just wondering how you cover your.
Maybe for this year, we can track those expenses a little better, those free events, and just next year budget time, we'll have a number for that.
Yeah, and then we've got a number we can say no or yes, and we're gonna exceed that number or not.
We're gonna have to have a little bit.
Otherwise, it sounds like you just, yeah, I'll do it for you, but not for you.
Yeah. Well, that was why, I mean, I was perplexed too. It was simply on the premise that, you know, it's not our interest. And, you know, I don't have a problem helping our neighbors. I don't. But I don't feel like I should send those resources out of county like that without bringing it back.
Well, in essence, it's a $3,000 sponsorship of the air show.
Correct.
Co-sponsorship, I guess you could say.
I suppose Jackson County,
No, Jackson.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people from Kansas City going to that.
I'm sure they will. I don't know.
They're neighboring.
I think that I don't know what they would be willing to send or who would be willing to send because they're so fragmented in Jackson County as far as who covers the ambulance.
Have a better chance of getting Lafayette out of Odessa to show up, I think.
Maybe.
But yeah, we'd be donating it'd be a $3,000 co-sponsorship for the air show.
Yeah. I grew up on air bases. My dad was in the military, so I went to a lot of air shows. They're fun.
It's cheaper than buying their fuel.
Yeah, I mean, I said, all growing up, I went to the air shows when they happened, but I haven't, as an adult, I'm not been to air
Yeah, it seems like we're, good chance of someone from Sedalia maybe passing out or whatever. And plus, we're helping the military families that are helping our community. So it just seems like something we ought to do.
Whiteman does help out in Sedalia an awful lot, don't they?
They do.
I mean, we get a lot of volunteers from our military guys that come down and help with things and women, I should say.
Yeah, they used to help with Habitat too.
Yeah.
They'd be a Saturday that they come down.
My problem isn't the quid pro quo. It's who else are we gonna be having to
So
provide?
that's a good idea.
So if we put a cap on it in the future, then
I agree.
I think I can run back through last year and figure out, kind of where we were at as far as expenditures on, all the events that we didn't charge for and kind of come up with an idea of what that is.
well, it's not like we don't have $3,000. We do. I just was trying to make sure it's defensible. That's all.
Don't put the figure 8 in it. We won't be doing that anymore, I don't guess.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They tore down where we did that, so.
So is there a motion to
Yes,
approve?
I do that.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you guys. I'll pass that along.
Go Fields update.
So we relisted the cubicle and 3 stair chairs that didn't sell last time, no reserve. All items actually sold. The cubicle's been picked up, it sold for $5. Stair chair 1 has been sold for $275. We're in contact with the buyer, so they're working on shipping materials to us so we can ship that out to them. And then stair chair 3 and 4, one was sold for $295 and one was sold for $280, and those were picked up last week. So we should receive payment on all of that by next Friday. And then by probably next meeting, Flo will have another list of things from our outlying stations.
Any questions on the update? Not, we'll move on to the strategic planning committee.
Well, we haven't really talked about this in quite some time. And most of the people that were on that committee are gone. So
When does the current strategic plan terminate?
well, we're 2 years into it now, correct? So, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff that was in that plan, we got done. I mean, I think there's still some stuff left to do. But I'd like to get the committee back together to revisit that plan. So my ask is I don't know, previously, I think Mr. Davis was on that committee. We need I would like to have board representation on the committee.
Thanks,
So,
Steve and John Fritz.
so if we could get 1 or 2 board members to volunteer to be a part of it, I won't meet you to death, I promise. Basically, I'm looking at maybe having 1 or 2 to revisit it and then resubmit and the revised plan of the stuff that we've done and, kind of where we're at and how we want to move forward. I like to keep it polished up and looking right.
Do you want to stay 5 years ahead?
I'd like to. I mean, I think that's a good, reasonable outlay for right now.
So what we would be doing then is checking off what has been accomplished, rescheduling those items that are on there over the next 3 to 5 years, and then anything additional. Good plan.
I can be there.
Okay. And like I said, I mean, it's not gonna be the heavy lift that it was putting it together. And basically it's gonna be, these things we've checked off, because I mean, we brought building in-house. We're working on the Station 3 project, we allocated money for this year to send EMTs to paramedic school, all and our EMT class just started last night. So I mean, we're moving in the direction that we intended to move 2 years ago. And I think we're doing at a pretty good rate. So I just want to make sure we stay on top of it. And then the biggest thing was after you guys approved that plan last time, I would like to put it on our websites for the public to see it as well. that way it's out there.
Well, if when you do put it on there, you need to go back and list what we've done.
Well, that's kind of what I like to do. I'd like the first couple pages to be what we've accomplished, you know, in the past 2 years, and then what's to come, you know, what our plans are moving forward.
Okay.
Sorry, who volunteered?
Nick and Eric. Any other questions on the strategic planning committee? Do you have any community members, any community input?
Well, we didn't have that on the original one. I don't know that it's not a terrible idea.
Any city council person or one of the county commissioners? I mean, that might make sense to, or maybe somebody from the sheriff's department.
Have one of each.
Because we work hand in hand with those agencies too. It kind of maybe build some rapport and communication with them.
Yeah.
They may have some good ideas that we haven't thought of.
I can certainly reach out to some city council people and see if we get a commissioner on board with
Or
this.
even if we get somebody from police and somebody from fire, that might help to Any other questions on the strategic planning committee? If not, since we have no new business, we'll move on to announcements. We can announce that the ambulance district has completed the purchase of the property near 16th and Winchester for the new ambulance station. Are there any other announcements?
I just let you guys know, I mean, it's not going to affect anything, but I'll be on vacation this week, so I'll be back right before Memorial Day, so.
Any other announcements?
Who approved that?
Flo gonna hang around and be in charge then?
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.